Hi everyone, welcome to Entre-Elles. I'm your host, Tombeni Kouloufoua, and this podcast is a platform for women of the world to tell their professional success stories. Twice a month, I interview a woman who shares her professional journey and her personal goals. Whether she lives in Abidjan, Accra, London, Paris, or San Francisco, her human experience is universal. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to a new businesswoman and to take you through her journey. First, a little anecdote. This episode marks the second time a product I knew and liked has led me to a company and subsequently to its female founder. You may recall that the first time was in episode 17 with Kaime, the luxury brand from Ghana specializing in personal care products and the most amazing shea butters. Well, this time it is a protein powder company called Hermosa and founded by a passionate, resilient and engaging woman named Erika Tamayo. Erika has lived many lives in one and has a very unique and positive approach to life and management. She's the co-founder of Live Hermosa and the marketing director for the Barry's Bootcamp UK franchise. If you've never heard of Barry's, you are missing out. It is a high-intensity interval workout, which some have referred to as the best workout in the world. In this episode, we talked about Erika's early years, her personal and professional journey that are so closely intertwined, wellness, fitness, and not being afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. Here is our conversation recorded remotely in London. Hi Erika, welcome to Entre-Elles.
Hi Tombeni, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm so happy to have you on. In this podcast, we travel around the world with our guests. So let me ask you the traditional question that I ask all the guests. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Colombia, a tropical, beautiful place. And I was raised in there until I was 20. And then I came to Europe directly to Spain. And now I'm in the UK.
I also understand that the last years that you spent in Colombia were not the easiest. Are you comfortable sharing how you ended up leaving your home country?
Yeah, of course. I always believe that things happen in your life for a reason, and you would not be anything that shape you are nowadays if you didn't have a fun and difficult history in the back. And I think difficult moments always shape us to our best. So I'm super happy.
So tell us, what made you leave Colombia then?
Well, actually, I didn't leave Colombia because it was a difficult moment. I left home when I was 16, and I had to go and live in a different city. My parents were from a village. And I had to make a life for myself because I knew my parents would not be able to provide a university or any sort of studies for me. So I kind of left home to the closest city. And that's where I had loads of challenging moments. I had this relative of mine who happened to be a very dangerous man. He used to work for one of the biggest Cali cartel in the 90s, 2000s, who was called Ivan Urdinola. And this person was kind of like a big conditioning in my life for a few decisions I made after. I was 16 at the time, and he kind of wanted to make me his woman by force, let's say. And so I had to kind of escape from him, and it was very stressful. It was stressful a few months, but I kind of managed to get out of that situation and went to a different city. And by living there, I was a singer at the time, and I met my ex-husband, and I kind of felt like this was the moment that I would feel protected. And when we all girls think oh, my prince with his white horse is coming to save me. I kind of hold on tight to that person and entered myself in a very rushed relationship And this person was very controlling, and he was very sweet, but he was very controlling. And I entered into kind of like a dark spot in my life for the next few years. And it was with him who I left Colombia with. I came with him. He had businesses in Spain, and then we came to Spain together, and it kind of like it went darker and darker and darker, the controlling zone of him over me. I barely saw my family. I couldn't have any friends. I all I could do was work, but he would have to kind of like really filtered exactly who I interacted with and all the things that I did. I worked as a model for quite a few years. And just to give you a context of how controlling he was, I would have to put his email as my confirmation for bookings for my castings and all the jobs that I was proposed to go to. I could not go for any traveling or anything bikini or anything with little amount of clothes or with a man involved. I was not allowed to do. All my bank payments were done straight to him. I had to even ask for Tampax to to buy for anything, and I was working myself. So it was like a very, very difficult relationship. That shaped me in a very strong way. You know, when you're a very young girl, you kind of like allow people to do these things because you just want to be a nice person and you think it's the right thing to do, and this person protects me, and why not, and I don't have anything to hide. But it's over the time when you kind of like grow and you realize like, why am I not the owner of my own destiny? Why am not the owner of my own decisions? Why do I have to ask for permission? And one thing took to the other, and then I feel very grateful that I kind of like woke up at some point and said like, you know what, you need to get out of this. And so I did. So that's when I go to Spain, and I left Colombia when I was 20, and lived in Spain for around 11 years, where there was an amazing amount of ups and downs and roller coasters. I divorced my ex-husband. I have a child with him, and my son was four years at the time. I mean, I have a very good relationship with my ex right now. We are very different people. We can't be in the same room for more than an hour on our own. But we have a nice civilized relationship, and I get along with him and his wife, and our son is a happy boy, so it's all good. No dramas, no dramas. I was in Spain for around 11 years, and then I came to the UK.
Did you have any experience with management when you were in Spain, or did that come with your experience in the UK?
So I worked in the UK as a salesperson for many years. It's very hard work. It's very demanding. It drains you even more. Like the kind of clients that I had, it was very difficult. But I was very fortunate to be so hardworking and so focused and so passionate that I always got kind of like offered the next job and the next job and the next job. But then the economic crisis of 2008 came to Spain. And guess what? I didn't have a career. So I didn't have anything to offer to anyone in there, because at the time, I think people look at CVs a lot less right now. But at the time, it was, what's your CV? What have you studied? If you don't have at least a master's, I'm not even going to look at your CV. And that's what happens when there are economic crises. People have to have the opportunity to be a lot more demanding with who they're seeing. And if they don't know you, they have to start somehow discarding people, right? So nobody would look at my CV, and it was really hard. So I came to the UK to study English for 7 months. And because I thought, you know what, if I don't have a career, if I don't have anything to offer in my CV, I need to find a quick way to actually make it happen, because I have a son. I have someone who I need to maintain, and I need to go out of this situation. And then I came to study English in the UK. Didn't know anything, didn't speak any word. It was really hard. And I went back to Spain, and it took me quite a while to find a job. But thanks to learning English and being able to provide something that anyone else didn't have in the country. I mean, lots of people did speak English, but not everyone within the range of jobs that I was looking for. So that was great for me to kind of like filter down and find those opportunities. So it took me a while, and I found a job at this amazing company that you probably have heard of called Just Eat, the takeaway e-commerce company. So I love this company because with them, I grew the biggest part of my career. They gave me the most amazing opportunities, and I took them. I literally took every single opportunity that they gave me with all my passion and hard work. And I don't know, I don't think I'm a very clever person, but I'm a very resilient person. And I think that helps a lot. And then so I know this is, I tell you lots of things just to answer a question. Have you managed people or not? Have you not managed people? But it's not as simple. Like, answers in life are not as simple. So the answer for your question directly is no, I didn't manage people in Spain, but yes, I managed people in the UK. And the reason why is because this Just Eat company provided me so many opportunities. And also when I came to study English in the UK, I met my now husband. And so the reason why I'm telling you this, and kind of like why the contest kind of like makes sense to the life with my ex-partner, is after 3 years of being in a long distance relationship with my now husband and working for Just Eat for 3 years, my husband proposed, and he was like, come and live in the UK with me. And I was like, no, honey, I'm not going to leave my life for another person. I learned my lesson. I was like, you either come here, or if you want me to come, I need to find my own way of coming. Like, I am going to make sure that I have a job that I own. I have my own space, and I don't neither depend on you or anything, because I learned my lesson. If you don't learn your lessons, then you're gonna be doing exactly the same thing. And I was like, I'm not leaving myself for another man ever again. And I promised that to myself, and I think it was the best decision I ever did. And then so I asked my bosses in Spain if they would help me find a job in the UK, because I didn't know anyone, and they offered their help, and it was just wonderful. And I came to the UK thinking that I was going to be a receptionist or a call center person, but when I got the opportunity to do the interview for these two managers in the UK, I didn't know what they really did, but they asked me, what do you do in Spain? And instead of sending like a box standard kind of answer, I sent them a video of me. But it wasn't a video of me. It was a video of me, my bosses, my clients, and everyone telling them what Erika did in Spain during the time that I was there, in a really fun way. So they were kind of wowed by the video. And then they offered me a job as a manager. And that was the first time in my life that I managed people. Most of my life, when you don't have a job, but you have, certain way of expressing, and you have certain connection with people, client experience is kind of like where you try to go for. Sales roles were the only ones that were most open to me, that could have like an acceptable salary for a single mom, that would allow me to have money to pay for my son and his for my childcare and all the things that I needed. So for me, sales would enable me to have, that possibility of the bonus if I hit my targets. But obviously, companies need to see that you hit your target in order to give you that extra money. So it's a very, very heavily demanding job where, every month you are like against the clock trying to get to your targets and making your sales, and people like don't really take you seriously, or some of them probably weren't the there are loads of filters until you can go to the decision makers. So it's a lot of work of talking to people, pitching to them, understanding the brands. I did lots of different sales in different kind of companies. I worked from a security company selling cameras and fingerprints logs to unlock businesses, and to a marketing company where I was selling, I don't know, change of I don't know, their logos and the kind of like the branding and stuff, which is very expensive and not all the companies are willing to do. And so it's a lot of like knocking on doors, and it's like all about how many meetings can I have a day and how many meetings are the optimal until I do a close of a sale. So it was like that trial of error every day. And it obviously depends on what I was selling. I mean, I started selling when I was 16, door by door, selling filters for water, ozone filters for water. And imagine a 16-year-old girl in Colombia going door by door. I had loads of crazy experiences, from the woman who was screaming at me, "Why are you knocking at my door?" to the man that was like, "Oh, come on in." And you're like, "Oh my God, this guy is gonna do whatever. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't come in." So it's like, sales is a lot of pressure and psychological pressure on you. Like, oh my God, my salary is very basic. If I wanna have the life I need, if I don't hit this target, I'm gonna be very demotivated. And it's like every month it's the same. It's very, you have to be very self-motivated. You have to be very patient. And also, like, people can be very cold. They don't realize that when they are buying something from you, they are enabling you to have that money for food for your kids, or the money for that childcare. And it's not like even the extra money for those holidays or anything. We're talking about basic stuff. So I found it really, really stressful and hard. The good thing is I'm a very resilient person. So normally I would hit the targets that I needed, but it was like 13 meetings a day. Imagine taking the car, going to 13 different places to meet 13 different people in one city. It's a lot. It's a lot of hours. You don't see your kids that much. You have to be strategic. You have to always go for like, how do I save time? How do I talk to the right person? You need to be clever. And that's why I found it really stressful. That's why I found it really difficult. It shaped me to be resilient. It shaped me to actually don't allow pressure to demotivate me, to actually make me thrive. So I'm grateful I did it. I'm very grateful. But it's a very different situation from managing people, which has its other challenges, than to sell. It's all for personal stuff and for different needs. But that's the difference for me.
Mm-mm. Yeah, thank you for that explanation. It was great because I think you've perfectly explained the high pressured nature of selling, really. And sometimes it's not always, understood how much you need to be, self-motivated, because, it's like the clock restarts every time, right? You're back to zero and you've got a new target and you need to hit the target. So it does require a different skill set, really.
Totally.
You end up moving to the UK. I thought that was quite funny because there are so many people that you meet in London who moved to London saying, "Oh, I'm here for 5 months." And then 20 years later, they're still here.
I know. I think, I'll tell you what, like I found really hard to adapt to the UK for the first 3 years. And I remember my husband, I was like, I hate it here. I was a very adaptable person always, because actually I studied in 11 different schools in my life, because my dad was always moving from places to places. So I was always a new kid. Therefore, I was always the one proactively going to meet people. Like, what are we doing? Guys, come on, let's hang around. Like, you know what? I'm new here. Like, take me with you and all that stuff. But in here, I found it really difficult. Like the language. Do you know what's funny? Like, people always say that I sound a lot like Gloria from Modern Family. Do you watch Modern Family?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
There is an episode that she says, but do you know how funny I am in Spanish? Do you really know? Like, I'm very clever and funny. You have no idea. And I'm like, yes, that's me. That's me.
She's so brilliant.
She's so funny. I wish I was like her. But because I'm Colombian, we have a very similar accent and similar jokes. You know, when you're from a country, you have similar kind of like banter, right? So I found it really hard because now I find it less difficult to express myself and to actually be myself. But before I was like so stiff, and I would have all of these words that I had in Spanish and I had no idea, and they all translated just to one single word. And I was like, no, but that's not exactly what I want to say. I want to say something different. I want to sound like me. I have such a rich language and I'm so proud of it. And I didn't have that in English. And I was like, oh, it's just so frustrating. So the first 3 years, Sandy always heard me saying like, I hate it here. This is so annoying. I don't find the people. I don't find myself funny. Anyway, at the end of the day, I made my own community. I made my own friends. I love it here. Like, London is such an enchanting city with so much stuff to do, with the multicultural possibilities. I don't know. It's just so fascinating. I love it.
Yes, it is indeed. So your evolution towards management was very organic. So I think it's interesting for our audience to get your perspective on this topic, because I have a lot of women on the podcast who have studied management and who approach managing people, dealing with a team in a very structured way that's informed by their by what they've been taught in school, really, or if they've worked in a large organization, then it's very much informed by the culture of the large organization in question. In your case, you were in an organization and you progressed through the ranks. So one, how would you describe your management style? And what do you think makes a good manager?
It's a good question. I don't think there is perfect and there is not right or wrong. I think for me, being empathetic, but also being very honest and leading by example, it's kind of like key. I think, again, you have said and you have appointed that my way of managing people has been progressing very naturally. I believe that I was always a natural leader, but I mean, I'm not trying to be full of myself. What I mean is I always, no matter what I was doing, I was trying to lead by example. If I was representing my school, I was leading by example. I wasn't going to be the girl that was going to leave the rubbish. I was going to be the girl who was going to take her rubbish. And if she saw someone else's rubbish too, to the bin, because I was representing that place. So for me, leading by example is one of the most important parts of managing, but also being empathetic and honest and providing people with the right tools to be able to become you. I want the people that I work with to be able to replace me as soon as possible. The reason why is because if I enable them and if I inspire them to learn how to do it, they are going to make me very successful. And therefore, they're going to be successful. And therefore, I can end up being my own manager's manager. And then you just simply give people all the tools for them to grow. And you grow with them. Most managers that I met, except for the ones that I work with at Just Eat, because I always talk about Just Eat, because Just Eat was kind of like my university. They had great management in that company. And I am so grateful. And they always enabled me to thrive so I could make them better. And then they could get better because we were growing. And there was, when you do it that way, when you kind of like grow from the bottom to the top, it's like a natural growth for the company as well. So, yeah, I believe providing your teams with the right tools, giving them independence to make decisions, letting them or helping them understand how to make the right decisions strategically for the company and for the team and for themselves. That's the best kind of things that you can, the best kind of tools you can give. And it's not just managing them for the company they're working for. Is managing them and how I can provide this person with the best this person can take to wherever they go. How can I grow this person? For me, that's one of the best leaders that can replicate good leaders everywhere, no matter where they are.
I wish all managers understood that the goal is actually to grow talent inside your organization rather than just micromanaging or anything like that.
Micromanaging is just so exhausting. I feel sorry for the managers. It's not exhausting just for the person that is being micromanaged, but it's exhausting for the person that is micromanaging because it's not scalable. I can't have 20 employees who I'm asking exactly what they're doing every 5 seconds. I can scale if I give them accountability. I can scale if I give them the tools to learn how to make the right decisions, the right calls, to be strategic, to understand the business from the core. Because I think most managers don't really enable people. Well, I mean, it depends on the companies, obviously. But most of companies I worked before Just Eat were like, again, micromanaging is a use of and abuse of power. And I say how to do things and you have nothing to say. And if you are a little bit cleverer than me, I need to find a way to get rid of you because you're going to get my job and I'm going to be pushed out. And it's sad because with that mentality, companies don't do well. The companies that do well is the companies that feel and enable everyone to grow. And the company grows.
Fast forward to today, you are the founder of Hermosa. And it's a story that is closely linked to Barry's Bootcamp, which is where you're recording from at the moment. I can see the red room behind you.
Yes.
Can you tell us that story? How did Barry's come into your life and how did it then morph into Hermosa?
Well, I'm going to link it all back to when I met my husband in the UK. When I told you that he asked me to come and I said, no, you come or I won't go. He couldn't come because he actually was opening Barry's in the UK. So he was like, well, I can't really come because I'm opening this business in the UK. So I don't know, maybe if you can come, that would be much easier for both of us. And I was like, okay, well, it makes sense. You have a business already. I don't have any. So yes, my husband was opening Barry's at the time. We were like 3 years together and we couldn't see each other because he was working so hard. Setting up a business is not easy. And then so he opened and then 6 months later, I came to live in the UK and I was working with Just Eat. Now, when he opened in the UK, Barry's with his brother, Barry's has a very high-end boutique fitness studio for the ones that don't know what Barry's is. But also the way that they do classes has revolutionized kind of like what the workouts that people does nowadays. So now there are loads of boutique fitness studios in the world. But Barry's was the pioneer. 23 years ago was when Barry opened it in LA. And then my husband and his brother opened a franchise in the UK 10 years ago. When they opened Barry's in the UK, the Barry's concept was you do your workout and we look after your nutrition in the easiest way as possible. The most important thing that you need to do after a workout to make your workout efficient and to recover way faster is to have protein right after. So the Barry's concept was you do your workout, you have your shake, you have your shower, and off you go for the day, right? But when they opened in the UK, all the proteins were so disgusting. They were like so like gritty and not good at all. So then I helped them design and find out the way we work together to design Hermosa, focusing on the taste rather than anything else. So yes, our product was a very premium protein. And then that's the protein that Barry's was using in their company for many years. So then I ended up leaving Just Eat and joining Barry's as a marketing director. I did have experience as marketing director before Barry's, but I haven't done it for a long time. But Sandy and James were like, well, look, we don't know what we're doing. We probably should have someone doing marketing. Why don't you, like, you work so hard, all of that hard work should stay within your family. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to work with my family. Like, I don't think that would go really well. I am very feisty and noisy and loud. And they're like classical music. Totally the opposite. I was like, oh my God, I don't know. Anyway, they said, like, look, let's do it for like 3 months or 4 months. You set up the marketing team, at least what it could look like. And then off you go. You can go and find something else. And I was like, okay, in those premises, let's do it. I think I need to change my career a little and explore something else. So I can come and help and then look for something else. Anyway, I helped them set up the marketing for Barry's, and I loved working there so much that I stayed. I stayed for many years. I did marketing for Barry's for around 4 years. And then I got pregnant with my latest child, who's 3.5 now. And then, you know what? I always believe that every woman, after they have kids, they want to change in their lives. Once you come back, you don't want to come back to do exactly the same thing. I think many women are going to resonate with this. I don't know, Tombani, you?
Yeah, I mean, that's so true.
Because, I don't know, kids make you have that time, and then you have time to reset and rethink, and you either love what you were doing, or you're a very ambitious person and you want the next thing in your career. Yes. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to have my own business. I have always had a very entrepreneurial brain and way of seeing things. I think that's why, it has helped me to think outside the box. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't have that amazing idea. I didn't have that specific thing. And then I was at Barry's and everyone was like, oh my God, can I please buy some Hermosa? I would like to take Hermosa. I would like to come here every day, but I only can come twice a week because I live in Birmingham. Yeah, we have people from that come to Barry's from very, very crazy places away. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, we can't really sell Hermosa to you. And then more people. So the question were asked all the time, I want this protein with me. And I was like, that's it. Guys, I'm going to open Hermosa as a company. And they were like, okay. So actually, James wanted to do it anyway. He already tried to open it with another girl and it didn't work. And anyway, so at the end of the day, I became a partner. So I am one of the founders of Hermosa as a retail company. And then we opened 2 years ago and it's been a massive success. And I'm so flattered with the welcoming from everyone, and all the Barry's goers love it. But we also have other fitness companies that use Hermosa in their shakes, and we have our own website. By the way, guys, you should go and check it out. It's really cool, very different to what you have seen in protein companies. And then, yes, here I am with learning a lot, doing loads of crazy stuff, learning lots of good things and bad things, and enriching my life.
And just a quick thing there. I said it in the introduction. So it's the second time that I end up with a guest that came to me through their product. So it happened the first time in episode 17 with Frida from Kaime, which is a company that I love, and they make these amazing shea butters from Ghana. And with you, so I'm a big fan of Barry's. I used to go to Barry's quite often, and was taking a protein shake at the end of my Barry's class. Really liked it. And I went to this wellness festival last year, and there you were with your Hermosa corner. And I came to you and I said, oh my goodness, I love your products. And you said, oh, I'm the founder. I was like, okay, you have to come on my podcast. So just to give a bit of a backstory here, what I find fascinating is because you're just telling the story like that, but you don't have a background in protein powder making, right? And that's really what I find interesting is that oftentimes you think that you have to be a specialist in something to start a business. It feels like you are not afraid to step outside of your comfort zone.
Oh no, definitely no. When I divorced my ex-husband, I had to live in a car for 3 months. So I can do anything.
Just to give a bit of context, so the UK whey protein market is one of the strongest among the countries in Western Europe. It has seen a huge growth in recent years. So you are also in a, let's say, in an area where clearly there is strong demand and interest. So you said that you started from the taste. But I understand that you did a bit more work than that on making sure that you have a strong product. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, well, as you pointed out, I didn't know anything about protein, but I found the right people who knew everything about it. So, and that normally happens when you find and when you're trying to fine tune the manufacturers you're going to be working with. So when we were designing this product, we were looking for a manufacturer that was not just an expert in the nutritional side of things, but also that could source the best ingredients. And then so this is how we found out like the way that we wanted to do it. Like, for example, we were thinking about what are the things that people don't like about protein? And then we were just literally going into finding that specific ingredient that would enable us to kind of like avoid those must not have in the product. So we kind of like, we were working backwards. This is protein nowadays. How can we not make it like that? Pretty much. So one of the things that we found was, for example, it would make us bloated. It would taste horrible. It would have 100 million different ingredients that you didn't need. Like, and also like the ethos that the products were having were going towards the directions that I personally didn't like. For an instance, I'm going to give you a few examples. Like, they made people bloated. They tasted horrible. They have GMO products on them. They had loads of additives just to kind of like try to hide the taste and the horrible taste of the ingredients that it had. Whilst if you put just a few ingredients for what you need, most proteins were trying to become a meal replacement. And I don't have anything against it. However, I believe you should have food because there is nothing that should replace natural food. And natural food from the best sources could not be better for your body. So I was looking for something that was going to resonate to it. So for me, it was about how can we make it as natural as possible. So we only use natural ingredients. We use stevia, but from the actual plant, not from artificial stevia. That's more expensive, but it's worth it. We use yellow peas, which are a lot more expensive to produce, and they are a lot smoother, and the taste is a lot better. We use white hemp, which is kind of like the top of the range. We use vanilla from Madagascar. We use cacao from Ghana. So all of these ingredients, we always use them in the most natural source. And then we just have a few, like we just have xanthan and sunflower lecithin for mixing it so they are smooth. So if you look at our ingredients compared to other companies, like ours are so little amount, but it's because we only focus in what you really need. We're not trying to replace your food. We're trying to be a protein powder that you can simply have after your workout so you recover your muscles and so you can do your workout again. And then also you can make sure that you build your muscles rather than exhausting them. And then so your workouts are more efficient. It's pretty much what it does. Other companies would be like, oh, this is 1.20 pounds per meal. And then you don't have to have any food because if you're in a rush and it's like, that's not what I want. I don't want people to think or feel like they will be building muscles or being skinny just by drinking this, not having food and sitting in a couch. That's not the thing that I want to show young generations. I want to help them to say, look, all you need to do is very simple. Practice this. Exercise, move, be active, whatever it is that, it makes you happy. recover with Hermosa, because that's what's going to help you to have more efficient workouts and also to be able to do your workouts more often without injuring yourself all the time. And then you know what? Actually, you shouldn't have Hermosa. You should have like a chicken breast right after your workout, but nobody wants that. The most appealing option is a protein shake. So at least have the most natural. At least have the best one with the best quality ingredients. Our whey protein, for example, is with grass-fed cows in the Lake District. It makes a big difference when you look into these parts of ingredients. Of course it does. Yet, not everyone does. And people because they don't know what they're having, they just buy whatever is the cheapest or whatever they got told, or, So it's a great thing to start educating people about what are the best things for the actual body. People pay fortune for shoes, but yet what they're putting inside their organs, they just look for the cheapest. And that's crazy. That's crazy in my head.
What I read on the sector was that for major players, in that industry, the issue is that they're trying to go around high labor cost by moving their production facilities in developing countries to benefit from the reduced labor and raw material costs. So with you being on a more high quality product, really, does that not then create pressure on your margins?
It does. I mean, inevitably, my products are way more expensive than others. However, the quality, it's uncompromised. And yes, it puts pressure on me because obviously your growth, when people have been educated, protein powder is cheap. Protein powder is cheap depending on where you source it, where it comes from, and what you're putting in it. Protein powders, if you have a cow full of hormones injected in a non-developed country, then cows that are grass-fed in the Lake District are completely different cows. And then so, of course, yes, it puts a pressure on you, but that's not pressure. I would say that's a gap in the market because everyone is going for the mass products, for what is cheaper and whatever. And we just narrow things to whoever really cares about what they put inside their bodies. And we don't compromise on quality. That for us is a no. So yes, it's harder to grow in a way, but once you know how to narrow down your funnel, you grow anyway, because there is plenty of people in this planet that cares about what they put in their body. And trust me, once they try Hermosa, they don't want anything else.
Yeah, that I can believe. Can you tell us a few words about your packaging? Because you have a very distinct, luxurious packaging. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So I always believe that the simpler you keep your stuff, the better it is for everyone. So yes, I do have lots of challenges in terms of labor and prices and stuff. So what we have done is we have kept it very simple, like a simple message: chocolate, vanilla, whey, vegan. Simple. That's it. And what we have done is I don't believe people need 8 pouches of different flavors in their kitchen. All they need is a vanilla and chocolate option that they can mix and match with fruit, with other different things, peanut butter, and then make it more exciting. Most people actually love it so much that they have it plain with almond milk and then just Hermosa because it tastes so amazing. But do you know what? That's one of the ways for us. But the packaging has helped me kind of like adapt to that lifestyle that I want the people to have. So you have, for example, the jars, the beautiful jars, because one of the things that we have been doing to disrupt the industry is to be completely the opposite of all the things out there. So you either find the very muscly, like manly, old-fashioned looking products for protein, or you have the bland, boring looking products, or the either very girly products that are very pink. So we are the opposite. We are neither girly, neither manly. We are like for both. We are like the Barrys of the protein. We are like the Soho House of the protein. Both girls and boys like it. They talk to girls and boys in the same way. It's like a gender neutral. And also the jars were designed to be sexy, and instead of you wanting to put them behind the counter and hide it somewhere far away because they are disgustingly horrible, you just want to proudly display them. So that's why we created our first product, was our beautiful jars. They're glass, and we want to be environmentally friendly first. And I'll tell you my challenges, why I'm saying first. We launched our jars, and they are glass jars. They're so beautiful. Guys, go and check it out to our website. And then people love them, and we proudly display them. And then so we needed a refill kind of option. So we launched our pouches. And then we were like, okay, but what happens when people goes away on holidays? Like, taking all of that stuff is boring. So we launched our on-the-go sachets. So all the packaging for Hermosa is always based on the lifestyle that we want you guys to live. It's a lifestyle. It's not a shortcut. It's not like a diet. It's not anything like that. It's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about mistakes. You said something that I thought was so amazing when we had our offline conversation. You said, "I love making mistakes. It makes you better," which I think is such a great positive outlook.
Don't get me wrong. I feel shit when I make mistakes. But the reason why I love mistakes is because that feeling shit is the one that is going to actually teach you not to make them again. And then so mistakes are a beautiful thing. For me, mistakes are, first of all, if you're making them, it's because you're making things happen. You're trying to do things that you don't know. So you're going into the unknown. Then if things go wrong, I just find it magical. I just think it's the only way to actually learn something. And then you can move forward. Unless, the mistake is so bad that you went down the cliff and then you're dead. I think then, those mistakes are really, really unfortunate. But if the mistake, you can carry on and making a different one. It's all about making different ones, what it's all about. If you're making the same mistake, man, you need to really look into what you're doing. But if it's a different mistake, I just think it's wonderful. You're making things happen. You're learning, you're enriching your life, and then you're having more data to go back to and say oh, we can't do that because this is what happens. Or if we're doing it, we have to do it differently to what we did before. And it's as simple as that. I think mistakes are the best things. It's like bad experiences. I'm sorry, but bad experiences are the ones that shape you. Good experiences bring you joy, but you don't learn from them. The bad experiences are the one that teach you something, and then that actually make life worth it to say, oh my God, I made all of those bad mistakes and here I am. I'm still alive and I know so much. And you feel so proud of yourself. Don't you think?
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. So let's talk about COVID for a minute, because, it's been such an important thing in our lives these past 2 years.
Yeah.
The fitness industry has been among the hardest hit by COVID. I think the numbers I found basically indicate that the fitness industry revenue declined by more than 50% in 2020. And obviously all the studios and gyms were closed, right? So everything had to shift online, and it is such a different experience working out, from your living room, especially for a workout like Barry's, right? Your business is very much tied to Barry's. How did that affect your business, having the studios closed?
It was really, really hard, really, really hard. The fitness industry is still being hit really badly because people got out of their routine. Like, Tombani, you haven't been to Paris for a year, you told me, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And you know how many people I heard about that? And it's not like they're doing any exercise. They just lost it. They just lost their confidence, or they just got into doing something else. People are working from home. Therefore, they're not really looking after themselves. Because you would say oh no, it's because they work out from online now. They don't. Nobody wants to work out online. People want experiences, but because the routine is so different, they're not back to it yet. Now, COVID for Hermosa was very different. COVID for Hermosa was actually a very positive thing. The reason why is because all the fitness studios closed, and then people that was doing their workouts and then doing their shake after didn't have that, but they still missed the shakes. So that's when our sales online went up to the top. people was like, I miss my berry shakes. Buying. It was like one after the other. It was amazing. Um, so, and we still like, actually when all the fitness studios reopened, our sales kind of like went down a little bit, and then we are now like going back up again with new customers and people that didn't know Hermosa before. I supply Equinox and a few other fitness studios within the city and in different countries as well. Once they reopened, my sales kind of like went down because people were more into that ease of doing their class and getting their shake already made, and it's so tasty and they don't have to do anything, that convenience. People love convenience nowadays. We don't want to move one finger. But during pandemic, that they had to, and they were at home, and so Hermosa was kind of like their best thing, and lots of people was working out from their homes, and it was great. For me, it was great. Helped us grow our company faster.
Mm-hmm. So two things actually that I realized I haven't asked you. You launched this business, so we've established that you didn't have any experience in, protein powder making. So did you start in your kitchen?
No, I have never done that myself. I always left that for the experts. So we hired this company who they help us get our blends together, and then we were tweaking ingredients, asking for the right things. They would provide the right things to us, and then so we came with a formula that they mix for us, and then they pack for us, and then they distribute. And then so I have two ways for running my business. So it's the B2B, the business to business, and the business to consumer. I have the two sides. Not many companies do this nowadays, but I do it because the B2B side of it helps me with volumes, and the B2C side of it helps me with revenue and profits. So the B2B side of it, it's in bigger packages, like 10 kilogram sacks. And the B2C, it's the packaging, as you can see. This company I work with, they keep and then they send to my clients because they're bulk. But the B2C, the direct to consumer, I have a different warehouse that when the sales go through my website, it goes to them and then they dispatch from there. So it's all like automated from different places. Otherwise, this could not be a job for one person. Like Hermosa is right now, I only have one employee, so it's just the two of us. And we're now working on a round of investment to grow the team and grow the marketing and sales. So that's how we operate so far.
You've kind of already responded to this question, but what are your channels of distribution? So obviously you work with Barry's clearly and other premium studios.
Yes, Equinox is one of them. We do a lot of partnerships with Soul Cycle. We have a few studios in London. One is called Storm London in Queen's Park. Another one in Cockfoster as well. We have a few more and more coming. A few restaurants, a few cafes that are being very successful selling protein shakes just to yummy mummies and whoever goes around. There is a cafe in the city that sells our shakes and are being very successful for lunch. So yeah, we have very, very good amount of partners we work with that make shakes with our product. And then we have our B2C, which is through our website, and we have partners as well that sell on our behalf. We are on a few retailers like Oxygen Boutique, but we curate them we are very not picky. I wouldn't say picky. I just think, you know what, not everyone is for Hermosa, and Hermosa is not for everyone. So we kind of try to curate the best channels for us. So we kind of don't prostitute our brand. This is how I say it.
And why would you?
Why would you? Exactly. I mean, unless you want a brand that is for everyone, but Hermosa is expensive, so it's not for everyone. And you just need to know that. And then the sooner you know that, the sooner you know where to target your customers.
What's your vision for your company? Where would you like to take Hermosa?
Well, we're already expanding to other countries. Well, to other cities in terms of B2B. I am growing B2B because it helps me work with volumes. Therefore, my margins can go better. It's for me the way I can grow the company so far. And in terms of like B2C, I'm going to focus in the UK most of the time right now, because the more countries you want to take, the least strength you're going to have to grow. So UK is definitely my focus right now. And I think I'm doing a round on the investment right now that is all for marketing. I have done miracles with the money that I got to grow this business to where it is so far. But if you really want to grow seriously, you need money to be put in the marketing. I need a marketing team. I need a marketing money to tell the world how amazing our products are. And I need products to gift away. And that costs money. To give products, it costs money. And I know that all I need is for people to be able to try Hermosa. Once they try Hermosa, they love Hermosa. That's not a problem for me. It's just to have the money for gifting away those products so people can try. And I know we will grow very fast. So that's kind of like the next step for Hermosa at the moment.
Okay, let's end with a segment that is called React to a Quote on the podcast. So I chose a quote from one of my favorite athletes in the world, who is Serena Williams. Here's the quote. I really think a champion is defined not by their wins, but by how they can recover when they fail.
It's something I live by. Again, it's all about talking about those mistakes, right? The recovery part is like how you learn from your mistakes. That's for me pretty much it, and how you grow from it, and how it makes it better for you. It's that record that this didn't work. Let's move it this way to see what happens. Oh, it didn't work, and then you kind of like fine tune things, and that's how you become a champion. That's how you become better at what you do. Mm-hmm. Paying attention and not getting demotivated by those mistakes, but getting strengthened by those mistakes so you can fine tune things.
Yeah, I think that's really the bit that's hard for a lot of people, right? It's just finding the energy or the motivation to shake it off really and say, okay, next.
It's funny because for me, resilience is a word that I always keep in my mouth. Resilience, it's for me the key of being successful in whatever you do, in a relationship, in work, in everything. Now, also, it's very important to say that it's also important to know when to say no more. Because, like sometimes you can get very frustrated and you go back again and again and again and again. And there is a point where you just have to just not give up, but like move forward, move on. So yeah, anyway. That's me.
This is the end of our conversation. That was such a great talk.
I had such a great time. You're so lovely. Thank you for letting me be in your show. I can't wait to hear it, and also to carry on and continue listening to other amazing entrepreneurs and women in your shows. You're really good and inspiring.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you to Erika for this lively, funny, and honest conversation. Make sure to check out her amazing brand by visiting their website, leavehermosa.com. As for Barry's Bootcamp, if you're in the UK and feel like trying a great workout, you can make a booking at barrys.com. Thanks again for listening to Entre-Elles. Please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts if you enjoyed this episode, and see you in 2 weeks for a new episode in French. Bye!